Hello.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello.
You all right?
Yeah, good. Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well. Refreshed.
Really? After all that flying?
No, just drunk.
Oh.
Just drunk. Yeah.
Hammered.
On the plane from Hawaii, on the way to Qatar, I've just stopped off in the last pub before the dry state. So I'm recording this from a function room in the Dog and Crown.
Oh.
In Turkey.
In
Turkey.
Turkey?
That's the next closest place for an alcoholic drink, is it, to Doha?
That's what they said, yeah, the Dog and Crown.
You may have been missold that, but as long as it's a nice place, then
mate, you try getting a function room anywhere like a day before, especially
why do you
on
get a function room? Is it just you in there?
Yeah, why do you need a whole function room?
Because I need to record. I need to speak to you guys in a remote meeting.
Right.
I can't just sit at the bar with all the background noise. I'm in the Dog and Crown function room. There's a comedy night in about half an hour.
Right.
I think there's a big expat community here, so I'm looking forward to that. Whereabouts are you guys? Are you in Doha yet?
I am in Doha, yes. I've got a builder with me, so if you hear any banging or drilling, it's him. Although, I mean, he's on a tea break at the moment, so I can say this quietly. He's just got a single bit of wood, and he's just drilling that full of holes and screwing things into a single bit of wood. We're in the desert, so Wi-Fi may come and go. And I've had to get. He said, "Where is this park land that you own?" And I've had to guess. So I hope I've got it right. Why do you think my build? And I mean, we can't see anything for miles around. There's nothing on the landscape apart from this single pole that he's bashing and looking busy with. But for his tea break, he's gone away from me. He's gone like 50 meters over there, and it looks exactly the same as here. I don't understand it.
It says more about you, probably. Than him.
Probably. I'm feeling a little bit paranoid.
Take in the air, though, Mark. Take in the air. Just give a big gulp of air. Try not to get too much sand. Try and filter your nose. How does it smell? Does it smell of football? Does it smell of opportunity? Is it a good place to build a theme park?
Well, I think it will be good. Once he's finished with his bit of wood, we can honestly say we've started. With the first peg of Footballland is in.
You just got to break ground, Mark. Just dig a bit. All you got to do, that's like ceremonial. If you've not got a spade, use his piece of wood to do a bit of digging.
Okay.
Just break ground.
Okay.
Ryan.
And then we can officially say we've started. I think that's how it works.
He's taken all his tools with him. I'm going to have to walk 50 metres and ask him if I can borrow his tools that he's going to be bringing back anyway. I might just wait for him to come back.
Anything. I mean, it's just a gesture, just so we can sort of, report to the shareholders and the ear holders and all the other holders, the cup holders.
Yeah.
Ryan, you said that, I mean, of course, the reason we haven't got more than one builder is because you were fixing the rest. You were getting some people off of Taylor Wimpey. How's that getting on?
Well, you know what it's like with Taylor Wimpey.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get hold of anybody. I think that they think that I've got a complaint about a new build.
Some snagging.
And, not even just snagging, like half the house was falling down. And I reckon that they can't be asked to rebuild it type of scenario. And so they're just blanking me very hard. I'm going to have to go down there, aren't I?
All right. Here's Footballland.
Just what is it that you want to do? We want to go Footballland, and we want to have a good time.
I'm calling this Robbie Keane's roly-poly shooting gallery.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Good celebration. One of your classic gun celebrations in football.
If I was Robbie Keane and I'd perfected the ability to do that, even though he's shit at it, it's still more impressive than a roly-poly, isn't it?
Well, this is the thing, right? The word roly-poly is in dispute. I mean, it's a very divisive word. The first time I became aware that I was from the Midlands was when I left the Midlands and I was in London and I used the word gambol. And everybody just thought I was mental. And apparently nobody really uses the word gambol. And most people think gamboling is sort of like, jollily walking across a field when it's not. A gambol is a forward roll, or what some people call a roly-poly.
I'd like to just take issue as well, Mark, with you saying that you think Robbie Keane ever perfected that celebration.
No. I said he's a bit shit at it.
Toppled over. Oh, okay, sorry. He just kind of toppled over, did an extra little roll, and then came up and did some shooting.
Yeah,
it's got to be the ratio between world-class striker and shit celebration. It's got to be up there as the most diverse.
You're both sort of forgetting he does a very kind of half-hearted poor man sort of cartwheel.
Yeah.
It's sort of it's a cartwheel that's not quite vertical. It's sort of toppling over at 45. He sort of flung himself over a bit like a little kid does on a bouncy castle.
Yeah.
And then it goes into not really a forward roll. It's sort of like he sort of throws himself over. Or it might just be an attempt to stop himself from the kind of cartwheel. And then, let's be honest, the guns are, I would say, in dispute. They're definitely finger guns.
Yep.
And they're very kind of thrusty. They're very, I don't know what you call them.
He's kind of 1960s westerns type shooting.
Yeah.
There's no marksman's quality about what he does. It's
I can't.
Does he blow on them afterwards?
See whether he's
no,
he doesn't. But I was trying to look for any thumb action, like him sort of bringing the hammer back.
Yeah.
But it's too quick.
Does he make the bang noise at the same time?
I think out of his, much like when you raise your shirt to reveal a message underneath, he actually reveals a tiny message, a post-it note on his finger that does say bang. But the evolution of the guns in celebration is quite interesting because at the dawn of the Premier League in 1994, when Swindon Town were in the Premier League, Janáš Fjortoft, they didn't score many goals, but when he scored, he used to do this quite sort of Victorian-esque sort of like, well, not Victorian, but like certainly spaghetti western, like bringing out both pistols from holsters, firing in the air, blowing on both of his fingers, and then putting them back in the holsters. And then you had Robbie Keane doing whatever we're describing now, which is kind of half-hearted, but at least it's a bit more automatic than his than Janáš Fjortoft. And then, like, you got on to Rio Ferdinand, who had a rocket launcher at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the musket.
What, you reckon it will go full circle?
With the ramming it down, loading the powder.
I want ramrod. I want the little powder. I want the little, like, maybe one of the other players comes over and he sort of gets a bit of his shirt in his teeth and rips it off and sort of tamps it down. Yeah. I think that the days of the kind of really orchestrated celebrations are gone. They're very much kind of silly handshakes and kind of that sort of.
Now and again, you get a dance routine.
Rooms now,
you do get a sort of mindless dance routine.
There are a little bit of dances, but what happened to the kind of the Aylesbury Ducks? The old. You want something elaborate. Why is a missed opportunity where they could cross football with sort of cheerleading? I would like to see them get into a pyramid,
Yeah.
That would be, what better way to celebrate
maybe
than to form
full
a human
on
pyramid?
Motorcycle display team. They all get on like Triumph motorbikes and form a pyramid and churn up the centre circle with Robbie Keane bagging away at the top.
See Harry Kane get on one of those tiny monkey bikes and ride up Heung-min Son and maybe fly over the top of Eric Dyer.
It's definitely possible. If you use what we have in a football pitch, you could have two players as the horse. You sit on them holding the corner flag like a joust, and you could actually charge towards the opposition goalkeeper and joust him into the back of the net. Adding insult to injury. Kepa Arrizabalaga not knowing what's hit him.
If we take, say, one of the many 9-0 demolitions of Southampton, you could start with jousting with goal 1 and then do like the history of weaponry. So about goal 7 would be Rio Ferdinand's rocket launcher, and then you start getting into like drones. I don't know how you'd mime a drone.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I reckon you definitely want a trebuchet in there somewhere.
Definitely, yeah. That's probably pre-jousting, isn't it?
Just sort of fire someone small, like sort of Emi Buendia into the crowd. You
Yeah.
know, that would be...
Well, you could, for the first goal, you could get like the subs bench on the roof of the stadium and just pour boiling oil.
The Robbie Keane's roly-poly shooting gallery, it's basically, I reckon this goes in the carnival, like the carnival section, because it does feel like one of those. It's a triathlon. You stand at one end of a football pitch. At the other end of the football pitch, there's a shooting gallery. And you've got to do all three events, sort of all three stages, which is cartwheels, roly-polies or gambols, depending where you're from, and then shooting. And you can do as many as you want in whatever kind of denomination you want. So you can sort of break it up. So you could do like 33 meters of cartwheels, 33 meters of roly-polies, and then you've got 33 meters to kind of shoot. At which point you're going to be, I assume, very disoriented. So you might want to do like 10 meters of cartwheels, 10 meters of roly-polies, and then 80 meter shoot. But you've got to, you know what I mean? Because you could get dead close to the target. Maybe we've got to put a limit on it of like 10 meters. You can't like do any more than a combined 90 meter combo of cartwheels and roly-polies. Otherwise, no matter how dizzy you were, you could just walk up to the target and shoot it, right? So
shooting has to be last.
Shooting has to, well, yeah. I mean...
You can't get all your shooting done and then just roly-poly your way out of there.
Yeah, although you would be... If you could do a 100-meter shoot with a little air rifle, then go for it.
Yeah,
but
surely it's basically whenever you think you're in range to get a bullseye, right?
Yeah, and not too dizzy.
Okay.
And not too dizzy, yeah. Because is if you actually gave Robbie Keane an Uzi and made him do his cartwheel celebration and then made him shoot at a target, do you think he'd be a good marksman? Or do you think he'd be spraying that around a bit?
I don't think marksmen use
And do you think he'd
Uzis,
accidentally press the trigger while gambling? Well, they can.
I mean, Uzi, it doesn't matter whether he's sort of a good marksman or not. He's just like, you know, he's going to hit everything.
Have you seen in Cambodia, you can pay like $10 to like Uzi a chicken or like grenade a cow, rocket launch like a sheep. Yeah, it's like a touristy thing.
Oh my
It's a bit under the radar, but it's like an urban legend. Not an urban legend, because I think it does exist, but they have these rifle ranges, but then they're like, hey, we got a chicken out the back. Do you want to just machine gun it? And I think you pay quite a bit of money to do so.
That's appalling.
It is, but we know it works with the public. We know it works with tourists. Could we?
If your next sentence is give the public what they want.
Well, I'm saying you couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. That is the expression. Could we hit a cow with a grenade launcher? Could you bring that into this, Ryan? Because at the moment, you know, people like rifle ranges, but they only really do it now and then. They don't pay much money for it. But if you gave the people the choice between, you know, an obstacle course where at the end you fired an air pistol and an obstacle at the end where you grenade a horse, what do you reckon they're going to choose?
I don't know. I guess it's divisive, isn't it? Like, some people will definitely go horse. Like, my wife would go horse because she hates horses. So, and I'd probably go pistol because as much as I wanted to, you know, fire a bazooka, I think the two of us doing it, we're going to get frowned upon. Whereas if there's like, if I'm softer on the side of the relationship,
you're going to get frowned upon.
Then
it's one of those things where you really wait to see where the wind's blowing before you make your decision. You're not going to be the first person who followed
you're creeping.
You've got a giraffe, are you?
You've got a full crowd there. You're creeping towards the horse with a bazooka. And when the boos get too loud, you go, do you know what? I don't think they're up for this.
Yeah. And when you got home, people would look at you funny. The people would sort of say, that house there. they bazooka horses, and they could say that and it'd be factually correct. Whereas if I refrain, they can't really say it.
It's a bit like Robbie Keane. If you imagine it, it's a bit like he's just bazookaed a horse and he's trying to like get away, and he's stumbled, tripped over, rolled on his front, cartwheeled, and then tried to style it out. Is there anything in that?
Is
Ryan?
that the best way to get away from a violent crime? To just do a roly-poly?
I don't know. I think you'd probably try to sort of you'd be rolling around just in case you hadn't killed the bear or giraffe. Like, it would be after you, wouldn't it? So you'd be like trying to dodge and duck and weave. You wouldn't run in a straight line.
Yeah,
and then
you
wouldn't.
The police off, wouldn't it? Because they'd be like, "What's going on with this fella? He's a bit unstable. He's just tried to bazooka a horse, and now he's sort of having a kind of roly-poly fit. Just step back and let him tire himself out."
It would change the whole dynamic of heist movies, wouldn't it? If they through the smoke, you just see them all like do a shit cartwheel and roly-poling out the street.
It's funny you bring up the weapon thing, because I was trying to identify what gun it was. I swear at some point it looks like he's got a Tommy gun, right? He's done that before. He's done the kind of and then he's done the double fingers a few times too, like the kind of, like you're saying, Western. And maybe you could pick like you say, you could pick your weapon, but then if you can pick your weapon, I think you've got to pick your costume as well.
Yep.
So if it's a Tommy gun, you've got to do it dressed as like a sort of 30s gangster.
Bugsy Malone.
And if it's a Western, you've got to go as a cowboy.
Yeah.
And maybe
you're gonna
add an extra.
You're going to
sort of
stab yourself with your
difficulty.
own spurs as a cowboy, aren't you?
Well, yeah, it's tricky, and I would say probably you've got to keep your hat on.
Trying to shake a guinea pig off them that you've just mercilessly trodden on.
I mean, that's the other thing with that kind of idea of you pay your money and you get to shoot up an animal. I mean, what would be the biggest mismatch? Like a rocket launcher at a guinea pig?
Yeah, the more chance of survival as well, because it's sort of, it'd just glance off a guinea pig, wouldn't it? It's
A rocket launcher?
You know. Yeah.
I think if the guinea pig is within a mile radius of the
crater.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got enough here.
Okay.
I think there's definitely, it needs a bit of tinkering, but I think by and large, all the elements are there. Maybe we speak to Peter and see which one they think we should go with.
Or
Shall
we
we
just
say.
put a disclaimer: some animals are harmed in the making of this ride.
True.
Exactly. Why can't films be more honest? It's weird as well. You never see like a film with animals. Like, surely I'm sure there's been a Hollywood blockbuster where an animal has accidentally died. Like, they can't cancel the whole film.
They don't cancel the film, they just don't put that disclaimer at the end.
Yeah, but they should say how many animals died, shouldn't they? They should list them.
Like
it should be an itemised bill. Like, a family of gophers were killed during this film.
And then, maybe if you traumatised an alpaca and he dies later, you see it click over in real time.
All right, then. All those in favour of the Robbie Keane roly-poly shooting gallery, say aye after 3. 1, 2, 3. Aye.
Congratulations, sir.
Great stuff.
Congratulations.
Let me take your hand. I want to take you to Footballland. It's built in the sand. And I'll run out of lyrics.
Mark, what you got?
I've got it's an experience called Headless Chickens FC. It involves clones, so let's get that out the way first. This is all about clones, so just deal with your.
Well, I suppose once we've developed one clone lab, then we might as well.
Yeah. This is maximising use.
It's not going to be cheap. Yeah.
So, a little background story. I used to be addicted to all kinds of gaming, and Gran Turismo was one of my preferred driving games. As you may know, you can buy the shell of a car and build it from scratch in order to race elite cars. I know nothing about car mechanics. I know nothing about how cars work. So I piled into this on one epic session and packed it full of acceleration. Like, it was accelerating off the grid like no one's business. It pretty much took off. And I found, like, brakes are boring. I'm not interested in brakes or gears. So this thing that was the fastest thing ever was uncontrollable. And we just smashed straight into any corners and blow up. And there was something sort of satisfying about it. And I figured this could extend to footballers. And in fact, that specific way of kind of enhancing someone's skill whilst at the same time rendering them utterly useless, the kind of player that has fairly enviable acceleration but no brakes, it's Adama Traore, isn't it? If you want someone to run into touch very impressively, beat all the fullbacks he's running against, but just run out of space because he can't brake, it's Adama Traore.
Is there a danger that you create the footballing equivalent of Richard Hammond?
Yes. What do you mean, the crash, or do you mean him just talking?
Well, both, I guess, because he's alive, and then after the crash, so you've got the crash, but then after the crash, like, he was mostly Richard Hammond, like the same Richard Hammond as before. He was like 95% Richard Hammond, so you had that to deal with. And then secondly, he couldn't, like, smell stuff or taste stuff, so you'd have an annoying, smelly Richard Hammond. And is that the danger that you create that?
He was the original COVID case, wasn't he?
Was it?
Did he get COVID mid-crash?
Yeah, I think that's how COVID started, and that's why the Chinese are so irritated with everyone blaming them. It's actually Richard Hammond in that
What
car.
is the 5% that's missing from Richard Hammond now, apart from sense of smell and taste?
He's irritable.
Okay.
And whereas I don't know if he was irritable before, he was irritating, but I don't know whether he's irritable. This is the sort of stuff you get secondhand from, like, your parents when you go and visit, and they tell you stuff about stuff that they've seen on, like, Good Morning and that.
Yeah.
And you're not really listening, and then I wish now I had been listening so I'd know.
So,
I think it was something like he didn't like celery before, but he likes celery now, and he can't smell certain things.
So
and he's a bit irritable.
all of that adds up to about 5%. So, like, a few more things. Like, he's not, he can't get a high score on Minesweeper anymore on desktop PCs.
Can't wear wool anymore.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Has to have his coffee very hot. Yeah. Got it.
When you hear the stats about, we share 99% of our DNA with chimpanzees, but also with bananas, you have to kind of qualify it with, but 5% of this is coffee appreciation.
Richard Hammond could now be closer to a banana than we are.
Certainly a fruit fly. Certainly a fruit fly. They always say that, like, fruit flies. We're only missing one chromosome from a fruit fly. They say that, don't they? Say that more than chimpanzees.
Yeah.
But you never see anyone, like, like,
what, giving up their life to go and live with the fruit fly?
Most diseases they all claim were caused by someone having a thing with a bat, or, like, having intercourse with a chimpanzee. Nobody's watching the scientists and the fruit flies, are they?
Well, I'd like to see one of those clever boffins put a human ear on a fruit fly. See that buzzing around.
Yeah, just telling everyone to be quiet.
You see it in Hollywood movies all the time, don't you? Like, the two people get in a role together and then they end up getting together after it, like, because they've basically replicated a romantic role for, like, 6 weeks. Scientists and fruit flies, two people, I say a person and a fly in the same room together. It's going to happen. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially if it's got a human ear, that would make it really sexy.
Yeah, because you could whisper sweet nothings into it, couldn't you?
Yeah, it would just be like a floating invisible person, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't think many people would be like, what's this fly doing with an ear? They'd just be like, what's this ear flapping about
what's his ear doing?
What's this doing here?
Oh, imagine having to get, like, an ear swat. Like a giant, like, cotton swab.
Well, it's a trumpet. You just blast it away with noise. So these clones, there's you get a squad of, 13, and you've got the graphic equalizers are set quite low, so their base level footballing ability is quite low, but you have unlimited power to enhance one side of it with the effect that the sort of corresponding opposite ability will be massively decreased. I want to create the footballing equivalent of Cassandra from Greek mythology, whereby she could foretell the future with 100% accuracy, but the curse was no one would believe her. So it renders her ability utterly useless.
Yeah.
So I want to experiment with, and these teams of, I've called them Headless Chickens, could be called anything really, because whilst they will mostly be useless in that they've got enhanced abilities counteracted by a severe kind of lack of ability, they might just beat a normal team. So if one of the players has like the most powerful shot ever, but he's got absolutely no sense of where the goal is, he might score a hat-trick.
This is like the theory of like Shakespeare's work and the Infinite Monkeys, isn't it? You're creating a football equivalent of that if you kind of make 11 mad players, they might beat the best team in the world.
Is this are we doing clones again? Are we doing robots? Are we doing clones?
I think clones.
It's clones. You said it at the beginning.
I know, but it was a long time ago, and I just wanted to be sure that we were doing clones, just because. Firstly, AI technology is getting so good now. We can change things on the fly. Secondly, Mark, you've done such pioneering work in your time. You've talked to us all about sex robots.
Yeah.
Like, you've talked to us so much about that industry, and yet cloning, every time I bring up clones, you say, I'll give it a go, but I'm not sure. And now you're coming up with this idea to not only make clones, but to change them infinitely as to, building up their strengths and attributes, like there's some sort of RPG character. Well, I'm just saying to you, Mark, save yourself a little bit. Robots.
Well, but the robots, if they bash into you, will be a bit more hurty, won't they? Because robots are metal.
Not soft.
Well, you make them with
robots,
like soft
though.
stuff. Yeah, like
silicone.
Sex robots must be like soft, otherwise you'd chafe.
Yeah, you would.
It's true. Although there are people that literally have sex with cars, don't they? They have intercourse with the exhaust pipe.
But they probably do it around the bumper.
No, it's the the exhaust pipe.
Yeah, it is the exhaust pipe. Yeah, and that's why Ferrari are having problems this year in the F1 season, because one of the pit crew keeps on clogging up the exhaust pipe.
Well, they're married, aren't they? He's technically married the car, so he's just exercising conjugal rights. No, I worry that you've slightly misunderstood what I'm trying to do. It's to create a useless team that might accidentally do well.
If you look at the skin creams, they've got like factories trying to make the best skin cream and all of that, rejuvenating collagen and all of the plastic surgery. I think instead of cloning, you could plastic surgery people. You could plastic surgery someone's legs to be like tree trunks, like Adama Traore's. You could plastic. All I'm saying with the clones is once you've made one, you've got to drown it. We know this. We know it. But can you not?
And we've not got a big enough tank. The amount of drowning going on. I mean, we've got that lake full of vodka, but
I can't drown more clones, Mark.
Even that's getting full.
Can we not plastic surgery people just to say, it's a clinic. You come in, you say, I want to run like Theo Walcott, and they just make your legs a little bit like a Tour de France cyclist's legs.
From my limited understanding of human anatomy, I don't think that's how it works. Like the guy that's got the best shot in the world but no sense of where the goal is, I don't think you can just do that by giving him big feet. But what this does against people's kind of competitive instincts is automatically at the other end of the scale, it takes something away. And that's... So for example, another player wins every single ball with his head. He's the best header of the ball, but his head's the size of a ping pong ball, so it doesn't go very far.
Oh,
and it's this kind of quantum entanglement of, if you are good at this thing, then we have to make you have a massive disadvantage in order to sort of negate it, but see where it goes, see what happens. So you could literally have a headless chicken. You could have a player whose ball control is amazing, but he's got no head. How useful would that be? I don't know. I want to find out.
Would he also be a chicken?
Possibly, yes.
Because,
the ultimate player on Headless Chicken FC would be the best footballer the world has ever seen, would make Messi look like an 80-year-old grandma on the football field, but this player is the size of a squirrel, or is a squirrel. It's like, what would that look like? How would that manifest itself in an actual game of football?
So how does it actually work? So do people come in and you can just muck about with your own player like they're in a garage, like your own clone?
No,
then, so how long does it take? How much do they pay? And then how long do they get with it afterwards before we have to drown it?
I think you take on the managerial role, so you're in charge of the whole team. To tweak and modify each player takes ages. You're talking days, and then you play a five-a-side, like 5 minutes each way, and then
how much are you paying?
Oh, a lot, and then we drown them all.
Right. Okay.
If I'm honest, Mark, this just sounds like an excuse to drown people.
It's the same thing again and again, Mark, with you. Drowning.
It sounds like an excuse
Ends in drowning.
Drown clones.
And also, like...
Stop it.
It's bad enough.
You've got a problem.
It's bad enough drowning a normal human clone with regular features, but trying to drown one with a massive head that's got a squirrel tail, like...
Well, it'll be a bit of variety for who's on drowning duty. It's like if you're just drowning endless replicas, that's boring. But here's one with.
I will vote this in if you take sole responsibility for the rounding up and drowning of all this stuff.
With absolute pleasure, yes.
Okay, all right, fine.
All those in favour of including Headless Chickens FC in Footballland after 3 say aye. 1, 2, 3.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Oh, he lives inside the grandstand. He wears the captain's armband. He's good at keeping uppy as he saves a little puppy. Captain. Footballland. Captain. Footballland.
I've got a simulator, and it's called the Footballers Vacation Simulator.
Is it clones?
It's not clones. No, it's not clones. You will experience every facet of what it's like to be a footballer who goes on holiday. And we know what footballers do on holiday because we've got endless social media posts. It's quite simple what they do. They go on expensive yachts. They get exceptionally pissed. And they train hard and show social media videos of themselves training hard in unlikely situations where it looks like they're probably not doing enough to actually keep fit. But they're blooming showing us via a 10-second social media post. I saw one recently, actually, of Marcus Rashford sprinting up a slight incline at like a big stadium or something. Like a big sport. Yeah, almost like an airport. Yeah. He's showing us all how he's training and not having time off. Cristiano Ronaldo, the other day, it's holiday time, but he wanted everyone to know that he was still training hard while his bored wife and children watched on and perhaps missed their flights to somewhere nice. Yeah. So I think we get this all in a simulator and we get the expensive yachts in. Players love going on an expensive yacht and having dinner in crisp white shirts with all of their friends. None of whom are actually their colleagues. It's usually just their real friends, while posing at the camera in an amazing location. So I think we can do that. If we get a big lake, an artificial lake, we can put a cruise liner on that. People can have a go on that for about, the same amount of time it takes to take the photo. It's just a photo opportunity, really. I'm not convinced footballers are actually enjoying themselves when they're on holiday because they are basically robots. So they can sit on a yacht for about 3 minutes, have the photo taken. They can have a quick game of golf in a driving range, take a picture of themselves doing that.
They're like venues that are on rocks or near rocks. They like to stand on rock.
Yes, they do. And links golf courses have a lot of rocks, so we can kill two birds with one stone. We're going to set up about 3 or 4 photo opportunities. Obviously, some footballers don't like this photographed, but they drink a lot of alcohol and get absolutely wasted, a la Jack Grealish. So maybe we do have one non-photo sort of area where people are plied with alcohol, but there's not allowed to be any photographs of them there. Possibly just because of the law in Qatar. We don't want them to actually go to prison.
Even if it's not photographed, we may not be able to do that. There is also, and forgive me if this is overly pessimistic and negative, misanthropic view of footballers, there is also an element of them taking these photos, putting them on social media in a, look at me, I am infinitely richer than any of you will ever be.
Yeah, the yacht photos do that. Yeah, you don't really often see a footballer hiking in the Andes, do you?
No, they're not just hanging out the back of a caravan in the rain somewhere outside the forest
or
of Dean.
Throwing pots, you know what I mean? Like, just summit. I like to see a footballer, like, fixing the shed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that little catch that spins at the top.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, just stiffen that up a bit so it doesn't always drop down, so that when you close the door, you've then not got to reach up to move it, to shut the door, to then move it back down. Stuff like that, I think, would be satisfying.
Yeah, and even like if you take the wealth into account, you don't see, you can be really wealthy but also have an argument with your partner about where you're going to eat that evening,
Traveller's
and you
check.
make and traveller's checks. You don't see footballers having an argument with their wife over the kids' bedtimes. Because kids' bedtimes always get screwed up over holidays, and it makes everyone tired. So I'd like to see that, but we're not going to see any of that because we don't see it. We're not shown it. So it has to really be a quick tee-off photo opportunity, a quick bit of lunch on a yacht, maybe proposing to your partner on against a sunset backdrop, and then setting a load of cones on some sand and making you do 20-meter shuttle runs at the end of it. Maybe it's yacht, working out, golf, working out, proposing to your partner, working out, getting absolutely wasted, working out. It's 6 or 7 selfie stations, and that is the holiday experience of a Premier League footballer.
Could there be a retro option?
Yes.
Like, so you could go and have like a kind of a 70s or 80s footballer's holiday. So you go to the Costa del Sol, you wear really short shorts, but in like quite a heavy fabric, and you kind of have your t-shirt thrown over your shoulder. You rub yourself in olive oil to get really crispy brown. Yeah, and you grow a moustache.
Yeah.
And you just sort of like stroll about the beachfront looking sort of not really like, together, not really knowing what to do with yourself.
And why stop there? Why don't we have a 50s holiday? Have a 50s holiday with Stanley Matthews riding a donkey on Blackpool Pressure Beach.
Why stop
riding
there?
it up
Why
and
not
down?
have a Victorian holiday and get in one of those beach huts, be wheeled down to the seafront, and just dip your feet in the water because you're terrified of drowning?
That's
chainmail
pre-football days. You would have to express in those photos, I'm a footballer and I don't know what that is, in order for it to be.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know what football is. You'd have to keep saying it.
But you've got to think about like the hipster footballers, like Hector Bellerin and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. They're always looking for new ideas. I'd love to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the front of a kind of a hipster sort of photography magazine, dressed as Queen Victoria.
Yeah. That's true.
Fearfully dipping a toe into the English Channel.
Yeah.
Let's not forget when footballers go abroad to another country, usually America, they usually have a quick photo opportunity playing a different sport, don't they? With a current star of a different sport. So we could have, pay an NBA star just to sit about with a basketball in our, on one of our selfie spots is just, I can't name a single basketball player, but one of them. One of those lads. One of those lads.
LeBron
James. No, I was trying to think lower down than LeBron because, it's usually like, the so-and-so of the Chicago Roosters has had a quick knock-up with Charlie Austin.
DeBronte Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get him in. Get him in.
Yeah.
Put him there. You can just shoot a few hoops with him, have your photo taken, and sort of like, but also the photo is full of, it's not like you're a fan of his, it's like very mutual respect. Like when Tom Brady met Cristiano Ronaldo at Old Trafford, it was like, look at the mutual respect between those two lads. And Tom Brady was essentially on holiday, wasn't he? Because the Super Bowl had, the NFL season had finished.
This is basically like just a very specific Madame Tussauds scene, isn't it? You're calling it a simulator, but it's just the waxworks of a...
Yeah, kind of. I imagine it more like imagine a golf course where it's like, instead of golf holes, it's like different landmarks to take a selfie of yourself.
Yeah, imagine that in a building somewhere on, like, near Baker Street in London.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Urban golf, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Urban to swords golf.
Urban to swords golf. All right. All of those in favour of footballers' vacations, the simulator, say aye after 3. 3, 2, 1.
Aye.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that one.
Footballland, Footballland, Footballland.
Lovely.
Well, that's it then, isn't it? I mean, it's not like we can go, another 3 rides. It's another 3 rides, and Mark has broken ground.
Mark's broken ground, and that's so exciting.
Did you definitely?
Yeah.
Have you done it? Have you actually?
I've just been given confirmation that we're currently standing in a desert in Oman. So I've overrun the trip to Doha. But
oh man!
So it's good and bad. We've broken ground, but we're in the wrong country. So I will put that right next week.
Okay, right. let's get to Qatar next week. All right. See you next time.
Alrighty.
Oh, join our Patreon, Footballland, patreon.com/Footballland, pitch some rides and rate us and all of that. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.